If you guys are looking for a place to get some reliable Ultimate Team coins, be sure to check the link in the description below to cointraders.co and use code LEGACY for 5% off of your purchase.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back. Last night, EA did the pleasure of releasing Evolution 2 cards. Now, what are Evolution 2 cards? Essentially Evolution 1 cards, except for they do look a lot fancier. I was not the biggest fan of the EVO 1s, but these EVO 2 cards look pretty nice. And to be honest, and the reason, if you're wondering also, they did EVO 2s instead of EVOs re-released the same thing is because they did state before that those EVO collectibles the first time would be completely useless. The rest of the year there wouldn't be more EVO sets. So I'm assuming to avoid that, we came out with new EVO cards / set 2 cards. But the big question is, should you be investing in these puppies? They are pretty expensive right now, but are they worth it? Are they going to go up a little bit more? I mean, the cards are all shiny. They're pretty. I want them just as bad as you do, but you know what? One of us has to be the wife in a relationship that says, nope, you can't have them. But quick disclaimer, though, on that, I'm not here to tell you not to buy these. If you want an EVO card, hey, buy an EVO card. But we're strictly here to talk about if you should buy them, any extent, if you can make coins off of purchasing them by investing in them going up down the road. I mean, already, EA threw us a giant curveball here. In years past, we've had EVOs released / Movembers released all of November. We've had them released all of October. We've had them released every single week of the year. For the first time this year, though, we have them released 2 different times, 2 separate occasions, and what looks to be for 2 separate months. And because of that consistency by EA, we've had a chance of getting a pretty good understanding of how to buy and sell EVOs. And if you remember, you know, we made the tough call back in November this year, saying EVOs were near that peak in the market and that you should sell them. And it was a tough one for a lot of us to do, including myself, because like I said, they was hot. Everybody wanted them at the time. Everybody was jumping on them, but that turned out to be the right call to go ahead and sell your EVOs in November, because they have been plummeting pretty well since then for the most part. Unless you're Miko Ramsey, who just keeps balling out. That being said, though, I want to say this right away. I was pretty confident EVOs were dropping in November. This time around, not near as confident. I want to tell you guys what I think. Regardless, you know, I'll give you my opinion on it. If you want to follow it, go ahead. If you don't want to follow it, you know, that's your choice as well. Not near as confident. I'm a little bit questionable on how these EVOs are going to turn out. So bear that in mind. Like I said, it's unprecedented. We've never seen a second quote-unquote batch of EVOs in one season. And it does appear we're getting a month's worth. We've seen that set that was up. It said you could, you know, put 15 EVO collectibles in it at your chance of getting 1 of 3 EVOs for week 1, which makes you assume we're going to get a second set of these and possibly a third and a fourth to finish off January. Except the difference is this time around, if we look at all of these cards, we have the Patrick Kanes, we have the Carlsons, we have the Mark Scheifele's. Yes, I put him in the same boat because Mark Scheifele the GOAT. We have Morgan Riley's. It appears this time around in January, we didn't get that big batch in October. We got, you know, a couple bigger guys. We got the Taylor Halls, we got a Ranton and McKinnon. But for the most part, we didn't have those quote-unquote big-time names from, you know, NHL for the past decade or so. We're seeing those now. And that does make a pretty big difference because if I had to guess, when you see the Carlsons and Kanes in week 1, odds are you're going to see the Crosbys and the McDavids in the big finale. And when you see a big finale like that, where you see all the Crosbys, the McDavids, the Ovies, what are people going to do? They're going to fire sell all their cards, they are going to rip packs, and they are going to desperately try to pull the best players in the game who are now upgradable for the rest of the year if they purchase them right now. Everybody wants the big dogs, man. Just ask Jamal Adams about it. So what's the answer here? Buy EVOs, don't buy EVOs. I think this is where we go on this one. No with a chance of yes. Good answer, Legacy. Yeah, I know. Thank you. You're welcome. But what I mean by that is this. I think there is a chance we may be able to find a player or 2, maybe 3 or 4. Hopefully we can do a video on that in the future if they come out the second week, or maybe we can look more thoroughly into it, you know, down the road from now. Come out with a video on some guys I might be able to recommend. But what I mean is, you know, you look at the Carlsons and the Kanes. Carlson's 700K. I probably don't want to touch anybody, honestly, if it was me. A card over 600K, 700K, I'm just not a fan. I mean, if you want to go, we can go look at EVO 1s real quick, and I know people are saying, well, it's different, these are new and everything, and you're right, you're absolutely right, but at the end of the day, they're pretty much set up the same way, except for now, you can't pull them by tier 1, tier 3, 4, 5, and 5, that was very good English. You can only pull them in 1 pack, but regardless, they're packable by completing collection sets. And the best comparison I like to think of is, well, Taylor Hall, 400K, but I like, you know, look at Sagan, he was packable. Tyler Sagan was a packable EVO, which means there's far less of him up than the PK Subans, which are going for 200K, by the way, but that's because he was hurt for the longest time. The Taylor Halls. But I like looking at Sagan, because look at that, 300K. He's probably selling for like, if he ain't selling for 300, he's probably selling for like 250. 86 overall, Sagan, stud and a half. I mean, he does have some very explicit words coming from his owner these days. Kuznetsov, you know, he was packable, a little bit different. 180K, 86 overall. Who else we got in here I can use? Panarin, another one. Hey, Team of the Year Canada. He's iffy, I guess. I mean, he's up there for sure, but there's just so many guys with a lot of points. McKinnon, 91 overall, 570K. McKinnon. Now, again, knows a lot of McKinnons, but that's a good gauge. I think this is John Tavares. John Tavares is kind of who I'm interested in here because he was packable as well. Give you a little bit of an example of how much some of them guys are going to be worth. Oh, wow, so that's an 87. I about lost it. John Tavares, 570K. There's one up, not been bought. Probably sells for like 500K if I had to guess. So, John Tavares, prime candidate, Team of the Year, popular player. He's on the Leafs. You know, all that fun stuff you need to be an expensive card. Now, you go back to the EVO2s real quick, and we look at, say, the Patrick Kane's 500K. He's an 88. That's a fair thing to compare him to John Tavares. Stamkos, same boat, 600K, 675 for Stamkos. That could be a little bit steep, and that's why I'm not a fan of the expensive guys, because John Tavares used to go for this much. John Tavares was in the 700K range, very limitedly, but he was in that 700K range there for a bit, and he started going down, because at the end of the day, and this is the most important part about these expensive guys, is the fact that, actually, side note, before we get to that, I guess I could give you an example of guys I might like cheaper, like Morgan Riley. Morgan Riley's an 85 overall. He's pretty expensive right now, 345, but you look at Morgan Riley, the reason I like him is because he's almost a lock to get a Team of the Year. He's an 85 now, maybe he gets an 87 in January, maybe he gets an 89 if we're lucky in February, and then again, maybe not. Regardless, I think of him as a 95 overall by the end of the year because of Team of the Year. So if you could swoop somebody like him up in the 150K, 200K range, I'd say, you know what, that might not be a bad buy because, like I said, 95 overall, he could go up more. The thing is, too, as well, keep in mind these EVOs, they are a little bit more priced high now because they just came out. If you wait 3 or 4 days, they might go down a little bit because you're continuing to see them yanked in packs, yanked in sets. That's another thing as well. Typically, we've always mentioned this before, you typically see these guys will be cheapest when they are in the packs, if they are to go back up, that is. But here's my biggest problem with the whole EVO thing. Like I said, there's some select few guys that might be cheaper that I might be interested in. But for the most part, they look fancy. They look great. I really want one. But once people realize they can only get 2 more upgrades, and a lot of people might already be realizing it, the most Patrick Kane can go up to before Team of the Year is a 92. Erik Karlsson, 94. Karlsson, 94. That's pretty solid. I'm not going to pretend it's not solid. But, you know, you look at guys like that. Werenski, 90. Not a lot of people. The reason people buy EVOs is you pay for the future. You pay for their future overall. Well, if you're paying for the future overall in October and November, that's 4 months worth of upgrades. We've got 2 months, and that's if they get an upgrade for 2 months. The second one of these suckers you're paying a whole bunch for, say the Patrick Kane, say that Erik Karlsson doesn't get an upgrade this month, he's going to go down. He's going to go down quite a bit because we'll be in February. When February comes around, typically, you know, the game starts dying down a little bit. And typically people start looking at Team of the Year and they want to sell their stuff in the first place because, oh, Team of the Year is coming out. Got to save up my coins to buy Team of the Year players. You typically see a little bit of a market crash there. And like I said, the market crash, it's bound to happen the second we see Crosbys and Ovies and everything come out. That doesn't mean necessarily it happens to EVOs, but we'll see the golds, the gold commons, you know, all that fun stuff probably go down quite a bit. Temporarily, at least, if I had to guess. And if it doesn't go down temporarily, the game is, well, that's still not good because that means nobody's played a game, which means your EVOs probably won't go up as much. But one thing I do want to just bear in mind, everybody's going to, I know people's favorite thing to say is, hey, these suckers are going to go get, he's going to get Team of the Year. I'm happy to get him. Bear in mind, we'll take a look at Patrick Kane, for example. 440K, that isn't so bad. But you look at it, he's got 2 synergies. Team of the Years last year, no joke, if you didn't see Team of the Years, had 12 synergies. They had 6 different synergies, a +2 on everything. And that was the reason it made EVOs obsolete. There was no reason for people to want them if they cared about synergies, which essentially at the end of the day, even if their Team of the Year, say Patrick Kane was going for 800K, his EVO might have been going for 600K or 650 because, you know, when them EVOs come out or the Team of the Years come out, everybody's like, I got to have that new card. Just like you got to have the new EVO2s. You'll want to throw the old cards away. You want to get the new ones plus the synergies. They'll still be worth something. But like I said, we're playing the investing game here, not to buy the cards because they're going to be on your team the rest of the year. That is 2 completely different stories here. And all that being said, I'm not interested. I like them. They look cool. Look nice on my team. But Erik Karlsson for 700K, no. Scheifele, 5-set, no. Well, Scheifele's pretty sick at 90 overall. But still, no. I can't do it. And just for the pure fact, they're going to be out for a week. Maybe, I mean, watch your prices. That's another thing. 570 for Scheifele. He might be 420 by the end of the month or end of the week. Maybe then you consider him, but I just don't like the risk and the reward. If you want to buy one, I would suggest saying get rid of him pretty quick. If he goes up 50, 70K, take your profits because it might not be there long. You just have to be very, very disciplined with your EVOs. And that's the reason, another reason I kind of suggest don't even buy him because a lot of people are like, you know what, he's going up, I want to keep him, he's on my team, I like him, and people have a hard time selling their cards. They wait too long, they wait until the end, people panic sell everything come Team of the Year, and all of a sudden you lost a couple hundred K on a player you paid for on an EVO. Totally up to you though. Completely up to you. Not buying them. Like I said, maybe if you see an Eric Carlson come up for a steal at like 400K or 500K, then maybe you consider it. Maybe. Even then, I can't help but think the Tavareses of the world are going for 500K with the EVO 1s, and they weren't in sets. They were only in packs, which makes them more rare. I'm going to try to come up with a list. Hopefully, go through some of these guys. There ain't a lot of them out right now. What's there, about 10, 11? Maybe next week, if they come out with another batch, try to go through some of the guys I think might be worth buying. For the most part, though, I'm avoiding them. But let me know what you guys are thinking. You buying them? You selling them? Everybody's probably thinking differently on this one. Everybody wants to jump on that EVO train. That could be some people, too. There's just so many curveballs in this one. There's so many people that could say, I didn't get to buy EVOs the first time. I want to buy them this time. That could drive the price up. They fear of missing out on EVOs a second time. There's just a lot of things that make this so much different this year. It's a unique situation. What are you guys thinking? Like I said, not 100% confident on this one. I'm avoiding them, though. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.